computer. Okay. Good
All right.
evening, everybody.
Good
Uh,
evening. Good evening.
my name is Felicia, and welcome everybody. We see some new faces in the group. But today we have two important topic that we want to discuss. So I'm being the host for our Ask the Experts platform by PRKPP and also Fit Unit. So we cover topics from mental health to wellness to everything about how to basically stay cool and calm during the COVID-19, stay home, stay safe, right? So today we have, as usual, our special guest speaker, Prof Mohamad, our regular panel, and he will be perfect because today is actually the World Mental Health Day. And also we have a young entrepreneur. So we have Harith to talk about representing Brands Connect Asia, and maybe a little bit more story about himself later on after Prof's session to talk about how he came about to basically bring something different, something COVID-19 kit to help people to cope with the whole pandemic as well. So, Prof, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Felicia. Good evening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our forum. So today is 10th of October. It's actually a celebration organized by WHO with regard to the Mental Health Day. And it has been regularly on the same date, we remember about these mental health issues. Basically, the idea of this mental health day is to remind us about anything, everything about mental health issues, and also to rally a lot of support from all mental health providers, practitioners with regard to how we can assist in dealing with these issues. And if I may, actually, over the last 5 years, World Health Mental Day has specific areas they focus on. In 2015, they were talking about dignity in mental health. In 2016, their basic focus area is psychological first aid. In 2017, it's mental health in the workplace. In 2018, young people and mental health in the changing world. And 2019 is about focus on suicide prevention. And for this year is basically mental health day 20 for the young people organizations. Yeah. So basically their focus is every time we have a change in many areas. As you know, mental health is a big issue now. In terms of suicide itself, do you know that every 40 seconds there will be a suicide case in the world? So that is how frequent it is now. So I think quite a number of us, statistic-wise or prevalent-wise, the major condition, example like schizophrenia, is about 1 to 2% in the population. Then we have about the same number, about 7-8% for depression, and also for other major conditions like bipolar, manic disorders, and areas of anxiety also is on the rise. So basically, these are serious matters. Unfortunately, a lot of people did not come forward for help because most of them are having trouble, and they think that they are alone, and they don't want to be stigmatized. They don't want to be seen and to be known to have this problem. But we can see that it is there. It is seriously there. Especially depression is very common now, and they will be surprised that the suicide rate has gone up seriously too. So I hope that we take note from today onward with regard to mental health. And my area of mental health is that I need to really try to actually focus on what we call preventive psychiatry. We don't want people to get into disorder state, and it's very difficult to undo that part of it. So if we can prevent early, we will do that. So we need everyone's support. We need everyone's help. So I think from this forum, we can actually try to extend so-called first a message about what mental health is all about, and then how can we work together to do this preventive work. All right. So prevention is better than cure. So obviously, once you have the trouble, when you have these mental health issues, it's not easy to undo it because that person has become vulnerable. And when a person is vulnerable, they're easily being subjected to a lot of stresses. They will again actually get a meltdown, I would say. And that meltdown can be very frequent and subsequently can become chronic in nature. So acute anxiety is very common. Quite a number of us are facing that because the stresses are there. And our intention is now to develop how people can be what we call a distress-free individual. Despite they are facing stress, they are actually not even succumb to the stress. It become a positive stress for them, and they are in a condition where we call a eustress state, where whatever the stress is, they still able to walk tall, stand tall, and be firm on the ground without actually losing to the battle to that stresses and become distressed. So these are the important things that we need to know about psychological health. What we need to is actually sometimes we take notice that a lot of people are having trouble, but we ourselves are not too sure how to deal with it. So another important aspect that we need to do this preventive is that to make each and every one of us to be a mental health facilitator. So by having some knowledge, and now we are trying to impart that to community. So we also like to train people to be able to become first mental health facilitator, subsequently mental health first aider. Because each and every one of us actually, if we are capable or we feel comfortable, uh, the experience will come. The more we do, we become better. But to start it, sometimes we feel a little bit apprehensive because we don't think so we have the knowledge. But I believe that we can start this program. So mental health facilitation is a very important program for each and every one of us because we will face people around us, and sometimes we ourselves face this issue among us within ourselves. So without having the knowledge and without having the know-how how to deal with the problem, I believe we may easily succumb to the stresses and become distressed and disordered. So that is basically the message with regard to the mental health. So stay distress-free, be happy in life, and be peaceful with yourself. So that kind of a thing. And obviously, we can't avoid ourselves to be around people. So despite being individually, we are strong. Sometimes we will have people around us that sometimes bear upon us their problems and whatnot. So we have to be able to also assist them. That is possible. Okay, I think that the introduction for the Women Mental Health Day.
All right, thanks,
So
Prof.
we will. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you can talk a little bit more a bit before we move on to Harith. Maybe a bit about like now the third wave. The cases are definitely triple digit. It's a little, it's maybe overwhelming for many people. And
Yes.
so how do you think that the third wave compared to how we first dealt with it? Do you think that it's easier now, or do you think that it's not so easy?
Okay. Actually, we already expected this. Actually, the second wave. This is the second wave for
Mm-hmm.
a lot of countries.
Mm-hmm.
Our first wave actually ended when we have zero incidents in a day for quite a while. Then subsequently it come back, and this time around when it come back, it was the number increased seriously. And as you know, actually this virus they mutate, they change themselves, they become more contagious, more virulent, and then you can see how they spread very fast because this virus actually does not stay as it is. With time, they actually change. So I guess when we first actually counter this virus in this so-called this warfare between human and the virus, we don't really know because that's why we call it the novel virus, as something that is new, something that even though we know the family name, it is from corona, but basically the class of that is very different. We haven't seen it like MERS cough and whatnot. So now after 5 months, 6 months down the line, we first encountered it in March, I would say, even though we had some cases earlier, just imported cases to start with. Then the first wave really comes in after that by March. By then, actually, there's a lot of other countries in the nations that actually have given us some idea how to deal with it because we know now what is the behavior of this virus and how they actually attack us. Uh, See, the worst thing about this virus is that they really do a lot of damage to us. That's how death come about. So now knowing what to do, how to do, previously there was a lot more death because we don't know how to handle the problem. I think now we know that. So we are not that worried about how to actually manage the case. We expect the second wave as if you know in 1918 when the Spanish flu comes about. Actually, the serious damage came in the second wave and the third wave. So usually it will last at least for 3 years or so. So we have to bear with that. So we got a lot of all these so-called flus, viruses and whatnot before that they give us some ideas how to actually prepare ourselves. So it's good that we have the act and the rules and whatnot that we enforce on people and people toe in the line very well. So that's how we can prevent cases in Malaysia very well. And again, we are most of us are I think all of us are law-abiding citizens. I think that is the key. Without following the SOPs and whatnot, I think the issue will be worsened maybe. Unfortunately, there was some time period where people get slackened. People forgot about it. People thought that it is over. But we already knew that this will happen. I think in medical fraternity, all of us know, but the virus will never stop mutating and changing into more virulent state. So right now, I'm not worried about how we can handle. The only problem, again, what we worry is the spike. If the spike gets so big, maybe our so-called health facilities were not able to cope with it. So again, that is the issue now. But you
On
can see now the lockdown. Yeah,
yeah. So
because most countries are having the numbers so increased so fast, so
mm,
the health facilities is not able to cope up with it. But I
mm,
think we are prepared for that.
yeah. How do you
So the
think?
only
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you think, like in terms of where if people are stressed out or they find it hard to cope at work, with businesses and things like that? How, like you mentioned just now, that people are not um coming forward or seeking help. So where do you think they
Mm.
can get started?
Okay, to start with, I would say this is a very important reminder. When we have it the first time around, people doesn't take it seriously
Mm,
as much. And now I think when the second wave come in, I think the message get better, get clearer. So people are knowing that this is a serious thing.
mm,
So easily they will toe in the line. Unfortunately, some personalities, some individuals, some group of people, obviously, as I said, these are about the issue of vulnerability within each and every one of us. All of us are quite vulnerable in certain aspects of things, especially dealing with stress. We don't have enough resources. So now the fear is real. So we know that we may end up again, if it is housebound, work is going to be jeopardized, economy will come in having trouble with ourselves and the family. So I think obviously the issue is there, but we just want that each and every one of us understand that actually you are not alone.
mm,
You have to come forward. You cannot just stay in and take things all inside, internalize it, and feel miserable about it. And subsequently, it hurts you more because you did not actually get help. So I think for most of us who knows about this, who is more able than this group of people, actually we should be, as I said, the first level is at least as the facilitator to these people that we know. Because in certain homes, obviously, if we don't even know, but actually in the community, somebody has to get to know about it. So the community leader, the group that the NGO group that is going around to offer help. Maybe these are the people who can actually get this so-called vulnerable group of people some support. So I think for individually, again, I know that when we have this kind of session, usually the trouble one doesn't get into this kind of session. So it's very difficult for us to send a message to them. So we are hoping that from our side, we go what we call the expansion rule. Like if I were to tell 1 or 2%, and that 1 to 2% can tell another 1 and 2% that what transpire, what they understand, and maybe subsequently the numbers grows very big, very exponentially grows very fast, then the message will get better, and then people will get more aware of it, and obviously some of these will actually come out to get help. If not, again, people might be difficult to reach in to us, but we must always reach out to anyone, everyone, and talk about this and see who is having trouble. Don't let them be, don't let it, don't just ignore them. So it's not easy to come forward, obviously, because we are worried about being labeled, or we are worried about being seen to be a weak person. But some people, again, as you said, the way they deal with problem is through avoidance, through denial. So these are all poor ego defense mechanism. We call it immature defense mechanism. So we don't want this to happen. And these are the people who are vulnerable because they don't have enough resources, they don't have enough tools to deal with the problem. So I think we try to actually inculcate knowledge, awareness, and also hopefully some kind of skill base so that people will be able to at least become a facilitator. But
Mm.
if more possible, why not become a first aider? You know, if we can become a first aider, then we actually can do something, right? A first aider will be able to deal with the problem much better than just a facilitator. And as a facilitator, you may get these people to connect to the resources to get help. But as a first aider, you can do the help yourself to start with before you get them connected to the other resources. So I think this concept is very important. All right. So
Okay.
please, each and every one of us who knows about this can extend this message to anyone, and hopefully that person also will extend the message to
Yep.
everyone around them.
And if it's in our circle, they can also contact you as well.
Yeah,
So
sure.
all right, great. So thanks, Prof, for the introduction. I think it's good to just give everybody an overview about the situation because medical and also on the medical side, both um, on the cases and also on mental health that you have the upper hand to actually talk about it. So
Sure.
great. So let's move on to Harith, representing Brands Connect Asia, right? And maybe you can share because I made you a co-host already, so you can actually share your slides. But what more maybe you can share a little bit about how actually you got started and how this idea came about. So yeah, over to you.
Okay, sure. So, hello everyone. I'm Harith. I'm a student in the United Kingdom, studying in Coventry University, majoring in international business management. So, I came back here due to the pandemic, basically, and the number of cases in the UK is quite high. So, it's quite a risk for me to fly back. So, while I am here in Malaysia, I came up with this idea in which the intention is actually to help people fight against the virus. So I came up with a COVID kit, self care kit. So I'll share the presentation. Yeah. Okay. Can everyone see clearly?
Yes, you can make it full screen as well. Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
perfect.
Okay. So Brands Connect Asia. So basically, we were established in 2018, and we actually hope to just a second. We hope to bring a fresh and agile approach to product and brand distribution. So for our COVID-19 kit, it's basically to provide necessary items to combat the spread of COVID-19. And our mission is to increase awareness and safety towards the COVID-19 pandemic by providing an all-inclusive COVID-19 essential kit. So this is our product basically. I'll explain to you what items are within the product. So we have our 3-ply face mask. Um, we have our 3-ply face mask. We have our sanitizer spray. We have also alcohol wipes, 75% alcohol wipes to disinfect any surfaces or area which might be infected. We have our hand sanitizers as well, and a storage bag. And here is our client portfolio in which we have supplied the COVID kits to. So we have supplied to Tourism Perak, we have supplied to even the Menteri Besar himself. We have supplied to 2 security companies, which is Ratusan Paksi and KRE Resources, and as well as Pangkor Laut Resort. So this is the pricing of the kit basically. Well, back to, sorry. Okay, so I have the kit here with me actually. Here's the kit. So have the hand sanitizers here. We also have the spray, as I said in the slides, and as well as alcohol alcohol wipes, and as well as alcohol pads and face mask here. So what makes what I feel that is beneficial of having the COVID kit, it's because it consists of everything to fight against the virus. It has the hand sanitizers, the surface spray, the alcohol wipes, as well as the face mask, which is essential to wear to prevent us from getting infected by the virus. And for the kit as well, we can customize the logo. Basically, we can customize. We can even put your company logo or your university logo, so it helps to boost up the reputation of the organization or company or business, basically.
That's great. Very good.
And I came up with this idea is basically because like I feel that if we were to purchase like one item at a time, we can purchase this COVID kit, which consists all the necessities in fighting against the virus. And we have supplied to 70, if I'm not mistaken, 71 schools in Perak. We have supplied to 71 schools to help students basically to prevent school children from getting infected by the virus itself. Yeah. So that is the introduction for the COVID kit. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, how much would it cost to actually get these kits? Do you actually have organization has to come, like they have to order in bulk purchase, or is it available to just consumer? They can just order online, or how does it work?
Um, um, uh, you can order it online for one, and you can also purchase it in bulk as well.
Okay, so through the website they can purchase it.
Yes, yeah. We have our social media, we have our Facebook, as well as Instagram.
Okay, great. So later on, maybe we can share that on our description as well. That's great. So look, moving forward, like what do you see in terms of how do you envision, yeah, we have to live with the new norm. I think like what Prof just now mentioned, we're going to probably live this for another 3 more years, with the masks and with hand sanitizers and all these things. So long term, where do you see this going, like just okay, you start with this COVID kit, right? And then what else that you're going to diverse into, or in future plans, in the planning, or probably in the pipeline?
You mean for the company, is it?
Yeah, like maybe a brand that you're going to diverse it, or just this product you're going to diverse it to other stuff as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like not to put you on the spot, like just like let's just treat it very like like a brainstorming, maybe to see, because you're relative, like somebody at your age, probably in the 20s, is thinking about other stuff that's more important, but now you're thinking about, okay, let's do something about it, and you have successfully launched something. Maybe like, where do you see, like, it doesn't have to be something that you are going to do, but how would you see that this product can be like diverse to other areas? Do you have anything in the planning, or any brainstorm? I mean, you can just throw some ideas out, so it'd be interesting to pick your brain a bit as well.
Okay, so basically to diversify, actually at the moment I can't quite think of any ideas at the moment.
Yeah, so it's just very focused on having this COVID kit. Okay, that's good. And so far, what is the response like? Yeah, the demand is quite high, I feel, still, definitely.
Yes, yeah, and with the spiking cases, number of cases, so far there are demands for the COVID kit. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, maybe like get I think more, so maybe get more, I think, young people to be on a platform and talk about things, and because we always see about how people are facing stress, but I think at different stages in it could be somebody who is in school, who is a teacher, who is a different background. So maybe it can be a platform for people to speak up and discuss about their work, about their business, about their life in a sense. So I think that's really good. Looking forward, I think we can probably do more on that collaboration as well. Yeah, thank you so much, Harith, for sharing. Anybody else wants to ask any question? Maybe Prof, you have anything to ask?
Okay, thank you, Felicia. I think Harith, possibly right now, I think we need to focus, even with the presence of the kid, possibly we still need to get a lot of buying in trust and confidence by this user, because I noticed that sometimes because they don't really buy in, so it is very difficult to actually do this practice, this so-called the new norms with regard to this hygiene and whatnot. So maybe your group can actually go around, actually reaching out and meet them in person in schools, and especially the younger group, because I think it is a very important group to be actually now much more serious about looking into hygienic practices and preventing all these so-called communicable diseases. It's not only COVID right now, there are many other things possibly we need to take note, especially with regard to our hygiene. So I believe if we can actually get a group, to move out, to reach out, to actually not only introduce the kid, but also to educate people with regard to these practices, because I think education is most important here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time what we call, we usually go for what we call firefighting. Only when the fire is there, then we do things. So we don't really be a proactive kind of a group of people. So I think you can be what we call the proactive group that actually initiate all this. We as the senior guys and possibly in our field, we can assist you to make it a better work, so-called group force, make it more convincing for people to accept this important new normal. So it's not only the product, right, but to come up with that product and to make it our way of doing things. I think that's where we should. The more we have been seen, I think it's much easier to be accepted. Because if we just people just bought the product, obviously I would say there will be time when this so-called reinforcement is not there, they will dies down. So and I think and I believe that actually the new norms, it takes a long time actually to become a habit. Even though we can change our old habit to get the new one, but we really need to have the discipline to continue doing it, to make it into your new self with this new normal. So I think that could be a very good area. You can go out and try to reach out and meet up a lot more people. Maybe that will be the CSR part of it, and subsequently to get the product, to buy the product, to use the product, and that will be the business part of it. That's how I
Okay,
look at it.
great.
Can I say something?
Yeah, Dr. Noni, you were asking a question, how do we become effective facilitators? So can you elaborate on that?
Oh, okay. A facilitator is basically a person who actually know how to get things done. I can give you an example of what is a facilitator. Example, like if you're on the road and you see that someone has a problem with the car by the roadside, you might not be actually knowing anything much about the car and how to manage the car. But at least if you can offer a simple help, at least you can try to assist that person to contact the resource person. Example, on the road, obviously some people doesn't know that there is a example. If you're on a plus, some people doesn't even know that you have a number that you can call and the plus will come and assist you. Then you will be the one who actually do that call, assist them and get the thing at least going. Then actually as a as a facilitator, you connect this person who is having trouble with the resource group. So that is one of the actually key action or key behavior of a facilitator as a
Okay.
connector.
Yeah,
So
then
that is one.
okay.
Subsequently, if possible, again, as I said, beside you introduce resourceful group people to whoever that needs it. You can offer support by, again, be at least a person who try to understand what is going on. So at least you will become a good listener, because you may not be having any answers to the problem, but at least to facilitate someone having trouble is there for them to talk to you. And that's actually, in a way, even though you don't know really how to manage the problem, but when the person speak up and ask you or tell you something, at least that will be what we call the first part of actually relieving and managing the issue, the problem, by what we call voicing out, ventilating out, right? Let it out and release their so-called inner concern, inner trouble that they have. So if you are there as a facilitator, that means somebody know that actually they are not alone. So that is another way actually to be a good facilitator, just to be there as a person, to be a listening ears, or to give a shoulder to cry on.
Mm.
But if you can, obviously, as I said, should be a first aider. Then at least you can do something much more than just offer that kind of support.
Well, I
Obviously,
guess,
as I said, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
sorry, Prof. Becoming a first aider, would you need to be going through some training at least?
Yes, it's very true. Even a facilitator also, you need to do some training.
Mm.
A facilitator is very important, especially in situation when disasters come in, when there is a serious calamity, somebody face some kind of serious trouble, that actually could really lead to a meltdown to this person and whatnot. So you need to. We have actually. I'm one of the trainer for NBCC, National Board for Certified Counselor International, US. So we have this program actually we offer for them to reach out to get the certificate of actually how should I say, a certificate of completion and certificate of competence to be a facilitator. And subsequently, then we can move up to the second stage to be a psychological first aider. And also we need to do this particular program. And both these program will go into what we call assessment, and we can actually determine knowledge-wise and skill-wise that you are competent to actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
So
I
there are programs.
can I just share a little bit from my own perspective?
Sure,
Maybe I also need a listening ear. So
sure, sure.
I'm just using this platform just to share.
All right.
Basically, 2020 it is a tough year for me on a personal note and as a family, but equally as a business owner plus as a parent. Yeah. So just to relate, number one, with my children coming back from the UK, and everything was like no longer the normal. Is a new norm. You're on Zoom, you're on, to study, you're without that environment. I surely think that students these days are not it's not normal to even in a space to learn, because they don't have the direct one-to-one with the lecturers or with the teachers. Now my question is that perhaps you can consider that is to assist students who are struggling, especially the ones who are facing exam year like SPM and all this, right? So I don't know what level of support that we are giving to the young people, because this, at the end of the day, you say that it's 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, and they'll be losing out in the whole experience of learning. For example, Harith, Sarah would not be in the UK for another next few months. They've been in Malaysia 6 months already. So I am pretty positive that I can pick up as a mother that they are equally stressed, that they just have to deal everything from home. And it's not they're missing out in terms of the learning experience of being a student, being abroad and stuff like that. That's number one. So the number two, my point would be, as parents as well, you are fearful of your children being out there. So some assistance to the parents as well. So it's good to note that perhaps that you say there's the first aider, there's somebody to hear, but equally maybe there's target, how do you say, focus of people, like students and parents. It can be a target segment that you can reach out to, considering that it is going to be like that for 2 or 3 years, that parents will have to manage their children and the children will have to manage their education and their expectation.
Sure.
And thirdly, from the business perspective, business owners or employees, I mean, I had to shut down my office immediately, knowing that there was a spike, and because that somebody pergi semayang Jumaat and there was like contact trace, there was a possible, COVID third contact, fourth contact ni, so we have to shut down the office. Then out of the sudden, that all this mental pressure that you have to handle, that you have to work from home, and feeling of worried, you're scared of the possibility you may catch it from work and you will infect people at home. So it's not quite a straightforward to me. It's not quite just reaching out. I think there's a lot of work on different level when it comes to the mental state of the people. I mean, this is unprecedented. From my perspective, from the aerospace sector, we know that we are just people will be losing jobs because nobody's traveling.
Sure.
So I don't know, maybe you can share a little bit. This is what I feel personally as what I've gone through for the last 6 months.
Right, true. Okay, thank you for that. Actually a very big questions to answer actually. But to start with, the main issue here is how the individual, all this while, or whatever it is, individual, group, organization, and what that is there around, has been so used to doing things the way it has been for so many years. And COVID has actually reminded us that, now it's time to change. And the best way to make you change is actually to threaten you with death, with seriousness of the problem that could cause death. And when death come about, everybody becomes so panicking about it. And that is where the fear comes in. And actually, the issue about this fear is sometimes, I would say, it is overwhelmed for quite a number of people. Because we don't like to actually see this number of deaths in our country, in our community, and whatnot. But as you know, there are many perspectives to that. Sometimes we believe in faith, and sometimes there is what we call faith will just take place when it is already fated for you. It's not that we don't do effort to prevent what can happen to us. So for the learners, for the parents, for the universities, I think now we have to look at learning is not actually a very particular period of time. You must complete it so that you can move to the next stage. So that is what happened to quite a number of programs. Example, like even like medical program, if you have to finish it by 5 years, so now you get stuck. You cannot even, or you get actually delayed by, like our final year that day. Medical student got delayed for about 5 months. Only then they can actually go for exam, and then they can graduate. So they are quite delayed. But again, as we said, these are the things that actually make each and every one of us supposed to be able to adapt to situation. So that includes every level of it: the individual, the organization, the university, the parents must always consider that, because priority is very important here. If priority about illness, is priority about this, the virus is actually very virulent and can cause death. Obviously, that will be the thing that we need to look at seriously. So we can actually hold back what other things that might not be as much, how should I say, important for you to really deal with it right now. Because if you were to go out, maybe you may end up having the trouble more seriously if you're unwell. So that could be one of it. And I believe that for each and every one of us, should not worry about, as though, like, life is stopped and we can't do anything else, because we are very adaptable, and actually we can easily accept the change but we must be the person who has that ability to look at it that way. Unfortunately, if we are quite fixed-minded, we are not able to work around our ways in dealing with the problem. That's why we felt that we are stuck. We cannot move on. We are in deep trouble. So this is what we call, actually COVID is giving us what we call a test for the growth mindset, not the fixated mindset kind of a thing, because we believe that everything must go accordingly to what we have been knowing how things are done. So now we have to change that kind of attitude, because there are many ways to get it done. But unfortunately, obviously, there are some areas, example, in terms of organization, in terms of economic sense, in terms of their return, their revenues, in terms of their expenditures, expenses. Organization actually suffers a lot if the business cannot move on. So that we can understand. So that's why, government is trying to help out in terms of giving some kind of financial support, some moratorium for, those payment and whatnot. So again, for this second episode or second wave, a lot of people are so worried, because then there will be more problem. The complication of this COVID that comes in will be more problem. But now even a lot of countries are not going to do to become so frantic like the first wave when it happens, because we know how to handle the problem. So that's why I think actually with time, all of us should be able to find ways out individually or group wise. So we need to embrace that thing. Basically, what is said here, it means that sometimes there are things that we can do, but sometimes there are things that we can't do anything much, but we have to just bear with it for the time being. As I said, whatever that comes in, disasters or calamities or like this so-called uh, virus that attack us, there is always a limitation. After a while, it will just stop. But during this time that we are going to face it, maybe 3 years down the line from now, even after the vaccine is available, it doesn't mean the vaccine will protect this particular person out of danger. Because as you know, a lot of vaccine also, sometimes they have to go for booster dose. And the worst thing is that if the virus keep changing and the vaccine itself does not change according to the virus, then the vaccine also will not become very good enough to deal with the change mutated virus. So that is why people are quite, cautious about just having the vaccine and thinking that the vaccine is the answer to this problem. The issue about individual response, individual apprehensiveness, individual fear and anxiety, I think it is, again, I would say we have to change the way we look at things now, right? Example, like, again, if we can actually negotiate with regard to the business issue, with regard to the situation whereby, maybe money does not come in. So how can we work it out so that we put on a halt for the time being, and no really bad implication if business are not in. So that is actually, they want us, or this virus actually want us to learn how to talk with each other more now, to understand each other better. So that is, I would say, that's one way of looking at it. Subsequently, with regard to fear of, we may get contacted or not, again, as I said, if we really strongly believe that even though we get contacted with it, I think the ill effect of it may be there, but the seriousness, sometimes we were overthinking about the seriousness of the problem that we can face. I think that is the problem that human are experiencing, the mental health, when they usually over uh, think, over so-called, make it like overreact, over exaggerate the issue and the problem. True enough, there's a lot of death. True enough, people are suffering. True enough, a big majority of the groups that is actually high risk may end up into trouble. But again, as you said, we have to just face it sometimes. We try our best, use whatever the know-how on dealing with this virus, so that I think each and every government is working so hard on that, and as trying to assist every individual, their citizen, on dealing with this problem. So with regard to us, with our children, I think learning should not be just in a particular place, because some place, I think previously, about this so-called perpetual student, or we call it lifelong learner. So this is a concept whereby actually sometimes we can put a halt for a while. Some people actually take out, a 1 year situation to just do other things that they're interested. Then later they can come back. Some university actually allow those kind of thing, those kind of a thing to happen. So I believe that actually we cannot usually think that I must have that degree, or must have that qualification. Only then I can live my life for the next phase. I think that is very wrong, because that is where we become so, how should I say, so distressed if we do not get what we thought we should get. Actually, once you're having trouble with some particular area, one particular time, actually we should actually work around it to find other ways on what we can move on with our life. Sometimes that's where, in this case, a lot of things get stopped for a while. So we need to actually deal with that, obviously, but we need not to worry that as though this is going to be, how should I say, the worst at the end of things. I think that could become where we say that this is where I use the word, are we vulnerable? Are we easily vulnerable to stress, that we become fearful of it, and then we end up become distressed, and we end up having actually emotional or a disordered state. We should not, right? Because that is how they look at us in a way that this COVID issue is that they want us to actually see ourselves, how strong are we to deal with all this. Just remember, there are many situations, there are many wars that everyone is facing before, the World War One, the World War Two, and then the other kind of a situation that could be also named under war kind of a thing. So there are many things people are battling with. So you can see that everyone at the end of the day survive, right? Only the few. There's always this number. I would say, if you were to see a normal curve, normal distribution curve, the bell-shaped curve, if you were to know what I mean, if you were to understand the normal bell-shaped curve, there is always a group where actually they will be at the lower end of this so-called cohort. Uh, so they were the one who suffers worse, the 1 to 3% of them. But there will be a bigger group that actually can survive the situation, and actually can, at the end of the day, come back and possibly be a better person dealing with their life after this post-COVID era. So, and there will be 1 to 5% who is so good, and they are well prepared before, they already have all the resources, they're untouchable. So there's always this kind of a normal curve distribution situation. So if we are in the middle, obviously now we learn how to move around to be a better person to deal with these issues on a personal basis.
Thank you, Prof. I think you've shared quite a lot. I have to take leave, but I would like the younger people to take the challenge, or follow what you suggested, is to become the ambassador, or to educate, to reach out to the young folks that this is the new norm. They should be aware of the new things, and they should not be, how do you say, depressed, or this is something that we will overcome as, human beings. We are there to adapt. So perhaps that Harith and his friends can take the lead, and the group here I will definitely support them for sure. If there's anything from Felicia's side, Mr. Wong, Prof, the younger people are there for us to support from behind. I don't mind putting some resources if it need be, that Harith and friends can actually do this for the greater good, inshallah. So with that, I have to thank Felicia for inviting me this just now. I didn't
Thank you,
realize.
Ratu Noni.
I didn't realize.
Thank you, Dr. Nani. Thank you for being with
I
us and
didn't want
sharing
to
with
put so
us.
much pressure on Harith. So yeah.
Very good.
So,
I don't think so. Farid feels pressured.
because he said, "Where did you get the link?" I said, "Okay, from Felicia." But nevertheless, congratulations. Please keep up the good work. And I'm available to assist whenever you just let me know, Professor.
Thank you, Dato'.
Professor
Thank you.
Felicia.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you so
Coach
much, Dato'.
Wong. All
Yeah.
right. So all the
Great.
best. So continue the great effort. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you. Okay.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank
Stay
you,
safe.
Doctor.
Okay,
Bye.
right,
Good
bye.
night. Good night.
Right, right. I think Felicia, we have Harith also in. I think Harith is a colleague to is that
Sorry.
Yes,
is
Prof.
Abdul Harith there? Your is it with the BCA too?
Abdul Hafiz.
Hafiz, sorry.
Hafiz.
Yeah.
Yes, Abdul
Okay.
Hafiz.
So great. So just to summarize, what I think Dr. May has said just now, and yourself, Prof. Uh, I feel, yeah, yeah, we should change our mindset a little bit, like not just think that this is like end of the world by, if you're not finishing your studies in a proper way. I think in like in some countries, they also graduate like a virtual graduation rather than the real one. So there's a lot of very it's definitely very awkward and uncertain and things like that. So I remember this quote by Jim Rohn. He said, "Smooth seas doesn't produce skilled um, say doesn't produce skilled sailors.
Yep.
Yes,
You
true.
have to have like
Very
very
true.
crazy waves and ribut taufan, whatever, right? So
Yes,
I
yes.
feel like this is a good challenge for the young people. I mean, I still hope that I'm still included in the young people group. On the
I'm
next
still young too, Felicia.
yeah,
I'm
everybody's still
still
young.
young.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
I'm also
being in
young.
your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, I think everybody has a different we can basically like you said, not the independent, interdependent on each other. Because you have wisdom, you have resources, we have youth and energy, and all these things have to
Yeah,
come together.
that's true.
Right. So, okay. So, Dato Norain, I'm just reading up the chat because she said, Harry, congratulations on the invention of the COVID kit. It's very convenient to take along while traveling and moving around. Good as a gift too, especially during this time. So, yeah. So, if anybody wants to get it as a gift for their friends or for their colleagues, I think this is a really good, token of sort of something that you want to just check in with your friends, with your close buddies, how they're doing and things like that. So, simple, it's the thoughts that count, right? And there's also Izzat. Hello, Prof. I was curious about your opinion whether companies or organization have a major role more than consumer in taking the extra precaution of taking care of the safety and welfare of their members and customers, not just through cleanliness, but through reminders and educated advice on the best way to protect yourself from COVID, knowing costs would likely to increase. So,
Yes.
Prof, maybe you can
Okay.
enlighten.
Thank you, Izzat, for that question or for that so-called sharing. Basically, it's very true. When we join any organization, any business, governmental organization, and any other organization that we know of, we are supposed to be actually accepted as what we call the family member to that organization. When we are a family member to a particular organization, I guess that nobody should be left out. Nobody should be, how should I say, only a group will be actually benefit, the other group is not. I think that is the key of any community or any so-called organization, whereby each and every one of members in the organization is a very important member. Everyone play their role. That's why the organization stands very strong, right? It can go to the highest level of the president or the vice president and administrative group, and it also goes to the very so-called the other group that actually get the place well, get the place hygienic, get the place clean, that get the place conducive enough to work in. So if the one that who manage each and all of us here did not see that way, that is when there is so-called disparity between the two groups in this organization, in this so-called family. We can't afford to have that kind of a thing in a family whereby one will get the benefit, the other will not actually. And that's when they call it, in a group or in this community, there will be then at the end of the day, an informal leader will come up, right? The one that is not happy with the current leader, the present leader, then will try to become a leader that is oppositional in nature, and that disrupt the whole system that is there. So we must be aware of that. That's why, to me, in any organization, be it now with the virus issue, each and every members need to support each other. Each and every members, including the top ranking, including the bottom level, as you said, possibly the not so important level, as you said. But to me, everyone is important. So we must support each other. We must make sure that each and every members actually get get well or be well or not even subjected to any kind of a distress. And that is the how should I say, the best family that we can have in any organization. So if that is the case, I think we have all those things, especially in a lot of organizations. They are very concerned about their employees. They do have those things. So right now it's only enhance it more, get it better, not to actually just try to save their own skin with regard to revenues and whatnot. Try to consider and understand everyone's problem, because actually we need each and every one of us. And I can tell you frankly, if any members in our organization doesn't feel good or have to get into trouble, it will again reflect the whole organization. People will talk about the organization. People will actually have a very bad impression about the organization. So that's why, as I said, if you take these words, they are all my family members. So that is the key in any kind of a group, or even any kind of a friendship group kind of a thing. Even as a friend, we have to take it seriously. As a friend, that means we care, we concern, we actually compassionate with each other. I think in a lot of organization, I noticed that we do actually offer support with regard to panel clinic for the physical disorders. But I found out that actually quite a lot of organizations did not really address the the real issue of mental health among the workers. So that is, I'm not too sure why, but somehow it appears to be like was really put behind. So because of that, a lot of these so-called mental health issues has not been addressed. When you know that actually between physical health and mental health, psychological health and spiritual health, the most important are the last two, the mental health and the spiritual health. Because if these are strong, physical health should not be any issue. You just imagine if somebody is really loving the organization, even though they are weak, they are not physically actually healthy, they still come to do the work because their spiritual health, the psychological health is there to actually assist them to be strong. So that's why I think our relationship is very important from every members of the organization. So if Izzat was saying that, the employers or the management should concern more about these people, their people. Yeah, I think that is very important because, as I said, for me, the key word is they are my family.
Hmm.
So if we can take that, I think we can solve a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So we will go all out for our family, right? If one of our son or daughter is having trouble, maybe we will go the extra mile to help out because we accept that as our family, the dearest to us.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you, Prof, for that answer. I think, yeah, at the end of the day, I think if we take it to a personal level, not let the management or the higher the management to actually do something about it. We can start with checking in with our colleagues and uh, or maybe if you are a manager, you have your team with you to check in, like how are you okay, that kind of thing. Some people just need a bit of listening to hear them out. And I think that's very important. From there, when it begins from you, then it becomes something, everybody, it's like a domino effect, right?
Sure.
Everybody will start becoming more sensitive to the environment. And if you're not feeling all right, if you're not feeling to attend anything, yeah, just make your excuse, state the reason. And yeah, I think at this stage, I think everybody will be understanding, not to say, oh, tak bagi muka or anything like that, right? So I think it's very important uh, to to have the understanding among each other.
Yeah, I think the main issue here is that we are supposed to develop more compassion to
Yeah.
everyone around us.
Mhm.
Because only with compassion we can develop empathy.
All right.
Then the empathy, obviously, you care for others first, then for yourself sometimes. because you give to others the interest more than yourself. That is what we call self-actualization. Maslow kind of a hierarchy need. You become really, selfless, no more selfishness. You are not really worried about yourself. You will go the extra mile to do for someone else first. So that's why you can't afford to just close your eyes and not seeing the person next to you having trouble, and especially you know them,
Yep.
right? So I think that is the issue here. These are human behavior that needs to be actually enhanced much more from now on.
Yeah, I think the hashtag kita jaga kita is
Yes.
yeah, we just use that and then keep reminding each other. I think educate people, and not take it personally and things like that. I think that's very important. Be compassionate, be kind. You don't know what kind of struggle people are going through.
True.
Yeah. Okay. So so our 1 hour is up. So maybe any questions or any last words from the floor? Anybody? Especially Harith and Prof.
Francis, you're quite
Yeah,
quiet tonight.
I think Harith, you're on the right track because you see you are taking the opportunity on this COVID awareness. Actually, the world is facing a health problem.
Yes.
So you focus on a health problem. The adversity we are getting now, you remember this word. Adversity is the mother of all innovations and creativity. Okay, so you see, because you are facing this kind of situation, you can think wider and broader. Okay, then basically for younger people, focus on the mind. Learn about the mind. You don't have to be a psychologist, but your mind don't function. Nothing will function. So go and understand the mind. Get close to the working on the mind of the people, and on the mind, then everything will follow through. So focus on the mind development. Focus on the physical development. Very important to stay fit, because if you are not fit, you are not taking proper nutrition, your health or whatever it is, your physiology won't function very well. So stay on. Only thing is that your COVID kit is definitely a very good one. I can see that a lot of corporate can use it as a branding by the small token gift. At the same time, even post COVID, okay, the sanitization kit is a very important thing, because people don't sanitize their hands. Even normal flu also can be very problematic. So that if you have a habit of wearing the mask and sanitize hands, this also can go on. So think about non-alcohol based sanitizer. Think about lower cost sanitizer in the aerosol form, because sometimes you see you want to so-called dry cleaning your hand in the restaurant or wherever you see, you just can spray. So there's a good thing to do. Keep it up, young man. Keep it up. Very good. So we can work together. Remember, the bottom line is health problem. Not only COVID problem. There are so many metabolic problems. There's so many other issues. Okay. Then we work on the body and the mind and the spirit. I think we are going to do very great on this. Okay. Thank you very much. Alicia, back to you.
Yeah, I think Coach Francis has given some really good ideas. Yeah, maybe like things I can branch out to sports, because I'm doing a lot of running. It's the most physical distancing sports that I can think of. If bicycle, I have to later on probably down a few months, maybe another couple of months get a bicycle, but then that will be in a later plan. But for now, like running, okay, what is the protocol? How do I keep my hands? How do I? We talk about sustainability, environmental, reusable mask. So those things can be included in the next COVID-19 kit expansion plan. so yeah, I think that's something that actually, yeah, even though you're in your final year, but it got a bit off track, but you're doing something that you only actually live it once. I mean, this hopefully this pandemic, and this is something, the memories and experience that you create from this whole situation. So I think this is really good. Pause and reflect, gives us the time to really think back. Is academic is not the 100%, it's not the ultimate goal in life, right? So we have so many more life's chapters that we want to live through. So what Prof and what Dato' Noni has said just now was perfect. And any last words, Harith, before we end this session?
I would just like to say thank you everyone for having me and giving me the opportunity to present the COVID kit. Yeah.
You're most welcome.
You're most welcome.
Yep.
welcome.
So we will post your website and all the links in the description. And hopefully, and then we'll share the YouTube link as well to everybody who is probably not available to watch tonight. So we can spread the word, and then we can invite future more collaborations and more people on this platform as well. So we actually on Saturday, every Saturday at 9 p.m. unless there's any major holiday or whatever it is. So usually it will be at 9 p.m. every Saturday. So if there's any slot or any collaboration on any topic that anybody wants to contribute or bring somebody in, you can just let us know as well. All right. So hope everybody have a safe weekend and a great week. Tomorrow is already Sunday, so we are going to start another new week. So hope everybody will have like a good week ahead and a good weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay active, right? And we'll see everybody soon. All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Felicia.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. Stay safe. Be well.
Bye.
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 All right. Bye.